Hey, what's up guys, Will here for GSM Arena. Samsung has come out with a new tablet, the Galaxy Tab S7 FE, or Fan Edition. Rather than being a sequel to last year's Tab S7 or S7 Plus, this one is supposed to combine their fan favorite features into a new package. So why get this one instead? Let's find out in our full review. The new Galaxy Tab S7 FE looks very similar to Samsung's 2020 flagship tablet, the Galaxy Tab S7 Plus. Both have a unibody made from brushed aluminum and the same size screen at 12.4 inches. In hand, the FE feels just as premium as the flagship too. It's balanced, solid, and stylish, and the flat sides add a bit of grip. The backside is a bit of a fingerprint magnet, but it's not a huge deal. The Tab S7 FE sets out to mix features from the Tab S7 and S7 Plus into a new package, but somehow you end up with quite a few downgrades compared to either one. Let's start with the front screen. Like I mentioned earlier, the Tab S7 FE has a 12.4-inch display, but this one is a TFT LCD, not an AMOLED like the S7 Plus. It is a bit larger than the regular Tab S7's LCD, but you don't get a high refresh rate, it's just 60Hz here. This means that movement like swiping and scrolling on the Tab S7 FE is less smooth than on last year's tabs. Still, this display is pretty good. The resolution is 2560 by 1600, or 243 ppi, plenty sharp for a tablet. Blacks are quite deep for an LCD, and while you don't get color settings, they are accurate out of the box. And brightness is good. We measured 430 nits with the manual slider, which boosts up to 520 nits in auto mode when out in bright sun. Another downgrade from last year's models is on the audio front. You get 2 speakers here instead of 4. They're still tuned by AKG though, and have Dolby Atmos support. They earned a good score on our loudness charts, and the quality is rich enough, but notably less so than the quad speaker models. Continuing with things that are missing on the FE, let's talk about the fingerprint reader. You don't get one here, even though the Tab S7 has a side-mounted one and the S7 Plus has one under the display. You do still get Face Unlock, which is fine, but less secure. Next on the list is the chipset. Rather than a flagship-grade Snapdragon 865 Plus, which you got even on the regular Galaxy Tab S7, here you get a mid-range Snapdragon 750G. Unfortunately, when it comes to performance, the difference is night and day here. While the 750G is enough to run a mid-range smartphone, it doesn't seem to pack quite enough punch for smooth performance on a larger device like a tablet. Sure, it'll get the job done, but you may encounter a hiccup or two when multitasking or using the DeX desktop mode. The gaming experience also isn't great, though heavy games will run okay if you turn down the graphics settings. We will say that the thermal management is really good here, and you get 5G connectivity if you opt for that in the features package. Another thing that's different on the Tab S7 FE is the bundled S Pen. It's passive, not active, so the Tab FE doesn't have a charging bed. And finally, the cameras also get a downgrade compared to the original models. You miss out on an ultra-wide and an LED flash, and the main cam is lower res too. Basically, all you get on the back here is an 8-megapixel camera with autofocus. Still, during the day, the camera produces pleasant photos with good resolve detail, low noise, and stellar dynamic range. We like the foliage rendition, and while the colors are punchier than reality, they're not over the top. At night, photos are pretty good, all things considered. The balanced noise reduction doesn't smear the detail, and you get good color saturation and exposure. There is night mode support, and it restores some blown highlights and makes for a slightly better exposure. The difference isn't huge though. Selfies are taken with a 5-megapixel front-facing cam, and they're great. They are detailed with a natural rendition, and you get good contrast, low noise, and accurate colors. Unlike the Tab S7 and S7 Plus, there's no support for 4K video recording. The 1080p video quality is excellent though, with good sharpness and detail, nice colors, and excellent contrast and dynamic range. Whew, alright, I think we've covered what's different on the Tab S7 FE. What's left is pretty similar, namely the software experience and the battery life and charging speed. The interface is Samsung's One UI 3.1 over Android 11, and in the default tablet view, it looks like a typical Samsung UI. Just like a Samsung smartphone, you get edge panels to keep your important shortcuts in. This large screen begs to be used for multitasking. The Tab S7 FE can have up to 3 apps open simultaneously, 2 within a split screen, and a third within a floating window. There is actually a second interface available called Dex Mode. It provides more of a desktop-like experience, with apps opening into minimizable and resizable windows. Dex Mode works even better if you attach a keyboard, like the book cover, especially made for the Tab S7 FE. Key travel is very nice and it's a pleasure to type on, but the book cover is sold separately and doesn't have a trackpad. There's also a wireless Dex Mode, which is used to connect the tablet to a monitor or a PC. You can cast media or use the tablet as a second screen or as a touchpad for input. Of course, the Tab S7 FE has Stylus support, and although the bundled S Pen is passive, not active, you still get most of the functions of last year's Tab S7s. Taking notes with the pen is quite straightforward and smooth. Notes is one of the apps that supports low latency, and it feels like you're writing on real paper. Samsung's text recognition is quite powerful, converting your handwriting into text, even if your writing is on the sloppy side. The Pen Up app is used for drawing and coloring. It works quite well and has plenty of options. And you get the AR Doodle function, where you can draw on your face and make funny scenarios. The only functions you really miss out on are the wireless air actions, but you can get those features on the Tab FE if you buy an S Pen Pro separately. Moving on to battery life. The Tab S7 FE has a 10,090 mAh battery capacity, one of the few upgrades over the regular Tab S7. It's the same size as the Tab S7 Plus, and battery life is quite similar too. There's also support for 45-watt charging, but just like last year's models, you only get a 15-watt adapter in the box. With it, we were able to charge from 0 to just 18% in half an hour. So that's the Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 FE. You get a solid aluminum design, a large LCD screen, and large battery, loud and good sounding speakers, good performance from the camera, and plenty of software features together with S Pen support. It's a good tablet, but when you take the previous models into account, it's hard to justify getting it unless you're specifically after 5G connectivity. The FE is going for about the same price as the regular Tab S7, and while it does have a bigger screen and battery, a lot of the other features have seen some major downgrades. The Galaxy Tab S7 FE would have been a lot more attractive if it was offered as a cheaper alternative to last year's model, but for now, unless the price goes down or you're a 5G fan, the Fan Edition is hard to recommend. Thanks for watching guys, stay safe and see you on the next one.